Nothing is sadder than being broke, but you've got money. Video, and thank you so much for joining me. If it is your first time here, andiswa.mojapelo, and on this channel we chat about all things related to managing your money and adulting in general. So if that sounds like your type of vibe, please make sure that you check out our other videos, and if you like what you see, don't hesitate, smash that subscribe button and become a member of the team. Today we are unpacking the two-pot retirement system. I did put something up on my community, and I said, guys, everybody's talking about this two-pot retirement system and has been for some time now. And I know that I did a video on pension withdrawals that caught quite a bit of attention. I think you guys were interested in the topic, and I asked if you'd like me to unpack what is changing, what is different, why are we doing this, and maybe we can also go into some of my thoughts regarding this, right? So let's start with the why, which is always a good place to start. So previously and currently, when you leave your employer and when you leave your employment because you resign or something like that, you are able, if you would like to, or you are given rather the opportunity to withdraw a portion of your pension or the entire thing. And I go into details in terms of what this entails in another video that I'll link in the cards. But the point is, you had that option, or you have that option, right? There are tax implications to that, but you could do it. Now, what would happen is some people would take advantage of this opportunity and actually resign in order to withdraw their pension. So they would leave their jobs so that they are given that opportunity to withdraw their pension, because if you are still employed and contributing towards a pension fund, you can't withdraw. So people would be like, okay, cool, I've got this 300,000 Rand that I feel like is sitting there and I need the money. So if the only way that I can access that money is to leave my job, then that's exactly what I'm going to do. So people would resign, and then once that email comes in of, do you want to invest your pension or do you want to withdraw it, they would use that opportunity to withdraw that pension, hoping to use the money and then find another job and start contributing again. But guess what? The economy, it's tough, guys. It's very tough. So it's not that easy anymore to just hop onto the job market again. It's not as easy and as we would like it to be, right? So then people would be, number one, left without a pension, and number two, left without an income. And what does that mean? Dear Mr. Government needs to spend more money on public and state resources because people can't afford to access private resources like hospitals and stuff at their own expense. So what happened was the government would budget money in order to take care of the people, or rather the pensioners who don't have an income, etc. But now they found themselves having to take care of people who did have an income but used their pension funds and savings whilst they are still working. Now, you guys know that I mentioned this a lot, that the savings culture in this country and the savings rate is quite low, and people are now going beyond just not saving day to day. They're now withdrawing their long-term savings such as pension as well. Then they thought, okay, what are we going to do about this, right? Because it is tough. The economy is tough and people do need access to funds. And when they don't have access to funds, they go to debt, which is way, way more dangerous because it's at an extremely high interest rate that they can't afford. So this is their money, but they need it for retirement, but they're also struggling right now. And because of that, they said, okay, cool. What if we gave people an option to access at least some of their money whilst they are working for those life and death emergencies? Then they didn't have to leave their jobs now and be jobless without a guarantee of a next job because they needed a little bit of money or a boost because they were struggling. So let's give them the opportunity to withdraw a specific amount of money whilst they are working. But at the same time, let's make sure then that whilst doing that, they are going to invest for pension and stay committed and take away the option of them withdrawing everything. So that's exactly what happened, guys. The two-pot system says that when you contribute your pension, it's expected that this will kickstart or kick off from the 1st of March 2024, that when you start withdrawing from the end of March next year from your pension, or rather when you start contributing towards your pension, a third is going to go into a savings pocket, and then 2/3 is going to go towards your actual pension savings. From this third, you can then think of it as going into a savings pot. Now they've changed the naming conventions, but I like the pot convention. It makes a lot of sense to me. So in this savings pot, where your thirds accumulate on a monthly basis, you can withdraw from that pot in dire circumstances where you need to access cash. You can withdraw from that pot whilst you are still working, but you need to withdraw a minimum of 2,000 Rand. So you must have at least 2,000 Rand in that savings pot in order to withdraw. Then you withdraw however amount from that savings pot, but you can also only withdraw once in a year. So what that does is that it limits you in terms of, you can't now, every time there's a small inconvenience, go and dip into those savings. You can only dip into them once a year. So everyone is likely, or should rather, keep that once a year ticket for when they really need the money. And you need to withdraw more than 2,000 Rand. So you can't withdraw 500 and 400 and all of those things. So that is what it is saying, right? But obviously that needs to build up. Then 2/3 are going to go into your retirement savings. Now this means that you can no longer just withdraw all of the 2/3. You can, when you resign, withdraw from your savings pocket under those terms that I've just mentioned, but you can't now take everything. And that's the caveat in how they are trying to balance the two, right? So example, from the 1st of March 2024, you are contributing 3,000 Rand a month towards your pension. 1,000 Rand, which is a third, is going to go into that savings pocket. 2/3, which is 2,000 Rand, is going to go into your pension savings. That 1,000 will accumulate monthly, and let's say at the end of the year, you've got 12,000 Rand. You can then withdraw minimum 2,000 Rand from that in cases of emergencies. And then obviously your retirement is now set for retirement only. Now, when this happened and this was proposed, and I hope we all understand it, there was the question of, but then when are we going to get to a point where we actually have a significant amount of money in the savings pocket in order to withdraw? Because I mean, not everybody saves 3,000 Rand on pension every month. Some people save way less than that. You know, sometimes it's 600 Rand that's going towards pension. So when are that third of 600 Rand going to accumulate to a point where you can withdraw a significant amount of money? What about all the money that I've already invested into pension? What happens to that? So then to solve for that, they said that, okay, fine. From the money that you've invested from whenever up until the end of the tax year, Feb 29th next year, all of that money, if you would like to withdraw, 10% is going to be transferred off that balance. So let's say, for example, I have 250,000 Rand, or let's say I have 300,000 Rand. 10% of that is 30,000 Rand. So I can withdraw from that pocket, but to a maximum of 25,000 Rand, meaning that my 10% is actually 30,000 Rand, but I can only withdraw 25,000 Rand and not more than that. And the reason they put a cap to this one, not the other one, is because, guys, when people know money is available, they're going to rush in their numbers and they're going to try and access that money. And sometimes people genuinely need it, but sometimes they don't. And they're just using that avenue because the money is available. So in order to cap that, they put it at a maximum of 25,000 Rand. So that is the 2-pot system that's going to come into place. And the reason why some people go 3 pots is because there's this pot, the last one that I've just explained, where they call it seed capital or your vested amount, where that amount of money, 10%, maximum of 25,000 Rand, is what you can withdraw. Now, I hope that I've explained it. I tried to the best of my ability. Just to conclude this conversation, what are my thoughts on this whole thing? My first instinct is that I am scared. I'm really scared because my sense is telling me that the people who desperately need to withdraw this money are probably in most cases the people who are not informed enough or don't have the right level of financial literacy to really understand the tax implications and the long-term implications of lost compound interest, lost benefits, and all of that stuff that is going to come into play. Those are the people that will probably need the money. And again, you have, people who don't have enough knowledge using something the most. And that scares me a bit because You know, are you really going to, okay, so that's the first thing that scares me. The second thing that scares me is, are people going to be disciplined enough to actually access that money when they need it? Or are they just going to access that money because it is available? Because that's the human nature thing to do. It's, you don't feel like a snack, but you walk past the kitchen and there's a snack sitting there and you're like, maybe I do want some chocolate. And then you grab it, you eat it, and you gain weight. So that is my second fear, is like, you know, are people going to be disciplined enough and informed enough to actually use this opportunity and this option to the best of their ability? But with having said that, guys, I do think that it makes a lot of sense to me, and I understand why they were coming from this position, because nothing is sadder than being broke but you've got money. So you're so broke that you're going to borrow debt at high interest rates, but you do have your own money that you are investing every month. And you know what my philosophy is, right? My philosophy is manage your bad debt before you invest for the long term. So imagine now you're investing for the long term, but you've got this crippling debt that even stresses you out to the point where you can't go to work, or you've got crippling commitments that stress you out, or you've got medical costs that prevent you from working and earning a living for you and your family. But now you've got this investment that's sitting there looking at you that you can't really use. So for that reason, I understand the rationale behind it. I understand the need behind it. The reality and the truth is that our economy is in a situation. And for that, we need to think differently about some of the solutions that we have. I think those are some of the things that just scare me. For me personally, I am going to ignore the change, and I am going to pretend like I don't have access to a third of my pension. I am going to live in the olden days and just pretend like that money does not exist, because I want to stick to my goals. I want to achieve my long-term goals where early retirement is concerned. And for that, I can't be dipping into savings for that reason. So as far as this family is concerned, I don't know if Mr. M will agree, but I've decided that for this family, we are going to pretend like we can't dip into that retirement. We contributed and made those commitments because we wanted to save for retirement, and we are going to keep it that way. Had this rule not come into place, we wouldn't have accessed that third. So why should we access it now? You get what I mean? Obviously, life is unpredictable and we don't know what the future holds. Maybe we might be put in a situation where we really have to. But guys, for now, in the near future, I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to pretend like it doesn't exist. And I would urge you to also stay true to the long-term commitments that you've made, to the long-term goal that you've made. Because again, our human nature will want us to use that money because it's available. But guys, something that I forgot to mention is that that withdrawal will be taxed at your marginal tax rate. So you're going to be taxed. So you're not going to withdraw 25,000 and receive 25,000. You're going to withdraw 25,000. They're going to look at your tax bracket and you will be taxed for that amount, right? So don't think, Ubana, it's just an easy, I'm getting money. There are implications to it, which is why I think it's safer to just stick to your goal, stick to what you had planned to do, and not now change your strategy, because there's certain options that are put onto the table for people who really need them. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a huge thumbs up. And if you haven't done so, consider subscribing so I can see you in the next one. Bye.